My fiance was denied a promotion because he refused to accept an award he was given.
Why didn't you accept the award?
Because he doesn't want to be employee of the month anymore.
It's too much, guys.
These kids,
Little old me?
He's not about all the praise. So, hey guys, longtime lurker in need of some advice. My fiance was recommended / given a training assignment some months back for a vacancy that would be opening. And he showed me a review at the end that he received where he received great marks. However, to his surprise, he wasn't given the position and he was the only person training for it. He's been feeling down the last couple of days, but he has told me something that I didn't know. By the way, this comes from Lore on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, a few weeks back, he was given an award in a meeting that he returned to his boss. Same boss who recommended him for the vacancy because he doesn't like awards.
He's like, I just don't like him.
And he never told me about it either, which I feel like when you're given something to someone out of the kindness of your heart,
yeah.
I think you just accept it.
I think so. I think also people like giving gifts and
yeah.
Sometimes it's just like they take it to heart when you don't accept.
He also told his boss he didn't appreciate being blindsided.
This is weird.
That's weird. And he admitted he was emotionally stressed from the meeting when he talked to him the same day. He also told him to never give him an award again, and he thinks that's the reason he didn't get the promotion. That's a really weird response.
Honestly, that is really weird, and the boss is probably like, well, I don't know if I want to work with this guy and more.
When I asked why he didn't tell me about it, he says that work was his space and it didn't concern me, and that honestly hurt. I'm getting red flag after red flag.
I don't like
with
this guy's weird.
He also said he's thinking about leaving the company and he's been there since he interned in college. My mom said to suggest that he talk to a professional about why he was bothered by the award / our relationship. But Dad said I should reconsider because he created a fan to walk into. What does that mean?
A fan, he created a fan?
He created a fan to walk into that hurt his career.
Yeah.
I want to see if he'll talk to a professional before reconsidering, but Dad said I shouldn't even give him a chance. I believe I'm making the right decision by seeing if he's open to it, not just for the job stuff, but also for our relationship. But I want to ask if I'm going about it correctly. Relevant comments. So we got some relevant comments and an update.
Yes.
I'm sure it did hurt his career. He was ungracious and humiliated his boss publicly.
And specifically him being like,
I don't appreciate being blindsided.
Yeah. Katera Rain says, true life, I am the a-hole. OP responds, literally said he couldn't focus, although he went to his office and returned to it after the meeting and not during it. But still, he said he couldn't focus for the rest of the day and brought a lot of emotions into the office when he went. And we do have an update. Belton says, you're allowed to not accept awards, but this was way too strong.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, he did this publicly.
He did it publicly. He did it kind of rudely.
He did it rudely.
Kind of insulted his boss at that point.
Have you lost your mind?
Also, I think as I feel like you should just accept gifts generally, unless it's from the mob.
Unless there's some sort of strings
Weird
attached to it. Why not?
Yeah. But let us know if you would have accepted the gift, or do you think OP's significant other did anything wrong? But we got an update. So before suggesting therapy, I asked him to further explain why he returned the award when everything seemed to be going well for him. And I want to remind you that he showed me a written review of his training assignment that he worked on for a few months that came back with great remarks, albeit nothing about returning the reward that had nothing to do with it. He said that he viewed work awards similar to participation trophies that he wanted no part of. He's like, if you want to reward me, freaking give me some money.
Give me a promotion.
Yeah. Or I don't know, give me some kind of vacation.
I think if he had, let's say he gets the award and doesn't get a promotion, he never made this outburst, and he, takes the award, doesn't get the promotion, it would then make sense for him to go back and be like, dude, I don't care about this freaking award. I want actual compensation for my work. That would make sense. But this is...
But you can't do that publicly either.
No, you can't, of course.
But you can do this privately and it'll probably not be bad.
But I think in this situation, it seems like he's just upset that he got an award, even though he was going to get a promotion too.
Yeah, pretty wackadoodle.
His foot stands whack.
He said that he viewed worked awards similar to participation trophies and that he wanted no part of it. But when I asked if his reward was that, he said it was a certificate recognizing him for his work along with training / assisting others when his boss asked him to, sometimes mostly on computer. When someone didn't know how to do something, he'd show them over Microsoft Teams. He specifically said it wasn't a participation award, but that he viewed all rewards the same.
So it wasn't even about?
I mean, I understand that there's like I always see this on Reddit
Yeah.
where it's like,
It's crazy because we're on Reddit right now.
yeah, I know. I use Reddit sometimes, but it's like on this subreddit, like no work or something, or anti-work, and it'll be like, oh, look, instead of my office giving me the raise I deserve, they gave me a printout saying, you're doing a great job.
Yeah.
I can see that being annoying, but I feel like, he's not playing the office politics necessary to
No.
get a raise.
I feel like a lot of times, promotion is the work that you do, but it's also the ability to make relationships. And
Oh,
stuff.
yeah. I would say it's like 50-50 or even
Yeah.
80-20, 80% your ability to do relationships and 20% your ability to do the work.
People like to work. This was a huge thing with when I was in theater school of talking to my teachers who were like, if you can be a great actor, if people don't want to work with you, they're not going to work with you. If you're hard to work with, you're not going to get hired unless you're like obviously a famous person or something. But if you're a small time person, no one's going to hire you if they don't like you.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. So he also said it'd make it awkward when he helped people in the future because awards make people seem less genuine, and that returning it showed he was down to earth. I don't know about that.
I don't know.
When I asked why he couldn't just accept the reward and do whatever he wanted with it at home, he said it was a gesture to show he wasn't a management up.
So it seems like his view is not even like, oh, they weren't, they're not treating me fairly. It was just like, I was going to show them that I was quirky.
Yeah, I think he has it all wrong. And that he'd be the same person after getting promoted. He also said he saw someone lose friends at work after crossing over to management side because it was an us versus them mentality. And he compared his gesture to the person who rejected the Nobel Peace Prize that he heard referenced in Captain America, the Winter Soldier.
What? He's
So
like,
him
I'm Captain America.
objecting to this workplace participation trophy is basically like that guy rejecting the Nobel Peace Prize in The Winter Soldier.
Yeah, you got me there. Put this guy on the big screen.
Yeah.
He's saving
He's
lives.
fighting for the people.
Yeah.
He's fighting for the people. However, he knew nothing about it besides the reference because he loves Marvel movies and didn't even know the guy's name. But when I asked if he regretted it, since everything seemed to go well with his training before the issue he likely made for himself, he said he was considering suing the company because he was treated unfairly, and he wasn't open to therapy because he did nothing wrong. When I told him that it hurt when he said that his work life didn't concern me, he said there were many things he said at work that I wouldn't approve of, but that it was his space, just like managers who talked behind coworkers' backs.
What is he saying at work?
I have no idea. Probably some sexist stuff.
Hmm.
But when I reminded him that we were engaged in incomparable to a coworker/manager relationship, he said I wasn't supporting him and didn't want couples counseling either, and that's pretty much how it went. So
This
he's
guy
like
sounds
not
like a
trying to fix
nightmare.
anything.
No, this guy sounds like a nightmare in all aspects of his life. He's like, oh, I can't do that either. No, I can't accept that. No, thank you.
He sounds terrible.
Yeah, I hate him.
You hate him?
I hate him.
What if he's going through the death of the mother,
I hate him.
Dang.
Damn.
The reason I spoke to my parents before we talked was because of an idea he floated in my first post that I didn't mention, and I want to explain it because some said I threw him under the bus to my parents, so I'll explain why. He said he was considering working a retail job in the meantime after quitting because he thinks he hit a dead end, and he said he'd be more respected there too in a retail job. I mean, like in a retail job, you're going to start from the bottom, right?
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have any experience there, so he's gonna maybe he feels like his personality can do better in a retail job. I don't know.
I doubt it. I don't think he's getting a lot of commissions with this attitude.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. I survived off commissions in my retail
because
job.
you're a nice person.
I used to work at Nike.
Yeah, but you worked at Australia Nike.
Yeah, Australian, and they paid actually decent.
Mm-hmm.
It was in Australian dollars, but yeah, dude. And I got fat. Well, I didn't get fat commission. I got 1%, but it was still good. It was still good.
You got something.
It was something. The other reason I told my parents was because we were looking at a home to buy, but those plans have changed and he wants to stay in our apartment. And that was before he mentioned anything about suing the company. He said he didn't mind making less if it meant having more respect. And I was willing to try and work things out if he considered therapy or couples counseling. But now that he's refused and doubled down, I told him that I'm reconsidering, and he didn't like that and said I wasn't on his side, just like his boss.
Everyone's working against me.
So I feel like he's about to just completely implode his
Yes.
relationship and his career.
Yeah, he's just making these choices, these huge choices. And he's like, I'm in the right and no one understands me and you're all haters and I don't need you. And then he's going to like walk out and put sunglasses on.
So, same boss who recommended him for the vacancy and gave him the award and has been distant since.
Yeah, because he insulted him.
He's slept by himself on the couch and even ate dinner on his own the past few nights. And I'm trying to see if my parents can let me bring some stuff to their place come Friday. Okay, really quick. It sounds like they're like thinking about separating.
Sounds like it. Well, because OP was saying there was a lot of other problems in the relationship and she suggested couples counseling and he was like, no.
Yeah.
So there's all these other things.
If you're not going to, it sounds like she's like down to work on it because it's not anything. There's not like a big thing that's causing them to break up, but it sounds like he's not giving an inch.
Yeah,
you know?
he's just not listening to anyone.
Yeah. So I feel like he threw everything away for no reason. Got a great review on his training, made an issue out of nothing when there was none. Learning about everything he kept from me still hurts. And I might try to talk to someone myself, but it really hurts because he basically said I never knew him at work. And maybe that's just how he is when he's not with me. Edit, the idea to reject the award came from Captain America, the Winter Soldier, and the guy who was referenced in the movie for rejecting the Nobel Peace Prize from what he told me, but he didn't even know the guy's name or anything beyond it came from the movie because he's a big Marvel fan. He also said it was a selfless thing to do and showed he wasn't a management awards stuck up to his coworkers who'd appreciate a down-to-earth manager when he crossed over into management. He also said it was something selfless Captain America would do. He said he wants to sue because he was wrongfully removed from consideration for the position for personally not liking awards, despite a great written review on his training assignment, and that it would help fellow employees who felt pressured to take management awards to move up because he believes that all awards are participation trophies. As a result of trying to talk to him and see if he'd be interested in couples therapy, he refused to think that he did anything wrong and still plans to sue. And I based my reconsidering of the relationship on his willingness to get counseling. I will be trying to move everything to my parents on Friday, but he's been treating me as if I don't exist because he knows that I'm done. He's eaten dinner alone, slept alone, and barely says a word to me anymore because I'm attacking him like his boss. So I'm trying to get to Friday, but it's been hard because he's turned on me. There are relevant comments and an update.
This guy's whack.
Question.
Yeah.
Do you think there's something else going on?
Mentally?
Or in his life? Like, I feel like this is a sudden turn and there must be something going on in his life that we're not privy to, because to implode his
Over Captain America?
career. Yeah, maybe he was really inspired by the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
But to implode your career and relationship over a movie feels kind of crazy.
I agree.
He's like, Captain America wouldn't get therapy. Why would I?
It doesn't make any sense.
Because Captain America would get therapy.
Captain America totally would get therapy. He needs therapy.
Yeah, he's
probably in active therapy.
He's like,
He
this girl that I love
invented therapy.
died while I was in the ice of old age. Like he's
got a lot to talk about, man.
Got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, honestly, I totally understand why she's considering ending this relationship because this is weird. This is weird behavior.
But we got some relevant comments and an update. So everyone else is giving you good advice. So I just want to bring up something else. The guy he's quoting from the Winter Soldier is Nick Fury talking about Alexander Pierce, the guy who rejected the Nobel Peace Prize because he said peace wasn't an achievement, it was a responsibility. Alexander Pierce turns out to be the villain of the movie. Spoilers, but Pierce is a Hydra agent, the coded fascist and antagonist organization of the movies, and is about unaliving millions of people for the sake of peace before being stopped by Captain America.
I could do this all day.
Like your boyfriend's apparently a Marvel fan, but looks up to the fascist genocidal maniac for his life quotes and work ethic. I mean, he is sort of destroying himself for the sake of his own ego while also taking you down with him. Falls in line with a lot of Marvel villains, to be honest. Cap isn't the one rejecting the award. And OP responds, it's crazy how he based his whole decision around a movie that maybe he didn't even fully understand. And now he wants to sue the company for the employees who felt pressured to accept management rewards because he thinks he's fighting for them or something along with how he was wrongfully refused the position for not liking awards, which shows how he doesn't get it. But he thinks he's a hero for fighting for other employees. Man is delusional.
Yeah, it's just this is the weirdest hill to die on. I don't understand. He's like, I have to do it for the little guy, but what are you actually doing?
And I really don't think people are as up in arms about these management
these
awards
awards
as you are.
No one cares about these
No
awards.
one cares. No one cares. OP on ending her relationship with Fiancé as he might have mental health issues. OP responds, that's where I'm at. And I'm just trying to get everything to my parents at the moment. He literally said he was doing a selfless thing by returning it and doesn't seem to get it. And he didn't seem to care when I told him how my feelings were hurt.
No, he doesn't care. He's on his crusade right now. He doesn't care about anybody else.
I literally thought everything was going great at his job, and it sounded like it was until he self-sabotaged for some reason. Like, I was surprised because I read his review from the vacancy training, and it was really good. And he developed a good relationship with his boss, who recommended him for it up until the award thing. I'm going to the update, y'all. Oh, yeah, Sophia, what do you think about this guy?
He's weird. He's weird, man. Divorce him.
Divorce him.
I mean, actually, pre-divorce him. Really, his fiance.
But update. So we're turning to this because a lot of people reached out and were helpful. And I appreciate everyone who did. I'm currently at my parents' and my ex-fiance was pestering me to move everything to their home before Friday when I eventually did. And it was really stressful. However, he did something that I didn't expect before I moved on Friday and I'm still dealing with. And a lot of friends and family know about it now because of what he did before I got around to telling them. What do you think he did, Fia?
I don't know. I don't have any ideas.
Well, apparently, he made a Facebook post that was pretty long, and he posted it on Twitter too. Long story short, he addressed the coworkers about what happened with his promotion and said that many of them were likely wondering what had happened and that he wanted to explain his side before the wrong people did.
The thing is, not only do people not care about these awards, they also don't care about you.
But he's Captain America of
Captain
the workplace.
America's like, I have to get ahead of this story before it breaks.
Yeah. He wrote that his bosses wrongfully rescinded the promotion because he told his bosses that he didn't like awards, and he included the manager's
He's gonna
name.
get fired.
Hey, that's how you get a promotion. You call out publicly on social media the people who can get you a promotion.
Yeah, and you say, I want a promotion.
Yep, and
You
you're a
guys
bad
suck.
person. Yep, dude, one simple hack.
Easy.
Jim Halpert, welcome.
He wrote about his conversation with his boss and how he respectfully spoke to him in his office instead of refusing the award at the meeting because he wanted to show respect. He also said that his manager previously knew about his anxiety surrounding awards and chose to give it to him anyway when he knew it would hurt his focus. But he never once mentioned anything about anxiety to me.
Yeah, now he's just making things up.
He never mentioned anxiety in the past, and he never mentioned that he spoke to his boss about anxiety too.
Liar!
Because I doubt he actually did.
I think he's just trying to make himself the victim.
Yeah, he's trying to twist anything that he can to victimize himself and be the hero in the story.
He also left out what he told me about how he was emotional when he spoke to his boss and said some things he probably shouldn't have. He left out the part about being blindsided by the award and don't ever give me awards ever again. And my dad thinks he's lying about having talked to his boss about anxiety to look like a martyr.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Also, I feel like OP's parents do not like this guy.
No, they're like, oh, thank God.
Finally, Jesus, this
They're
guy
like,
sucks.
he's a bloody martyr.
He thinks he made it up to draw pity, and the rest of his post made him think that too. When he wrote about how he was going to sue the company, he said he was doing it for others who may feel pressured to take awards in order to move up.
He's phrasing it like it's, like when people feel pressured to sleep with managers. That's how he's phrasing it. He's like,
They feel pressure to take these awards to move up in their careers, but I won't let that happen.
which is that those are not the same things. These are awards. These are like nice things where they're like, oh, I'm gonna show appreciation.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think he just wants to be the main character.
I think so too. I
think
think
he
he's
just
like bored in his life.
He's just bored in his life, and he's like,
and
making
he's like,
it,
well, I can't cheat on my fiance,
Yeah.
so I'm
I'm gonna
gonna start
talk
a
about
revolution at my
awards.
work.
Yeah, I feel it's like like those politicians that like run and they're like, my daughter twice removed on my mother's cousin's side got ran over by the train, so my policy is train safety.
Train safety.
It's just like he's just choosing like a random thing to
Yeah.
stick his flag into.
Mm-hmm.
and that he was fighting for them. He said it was unfair of his boss to refuse him for mental health reasons he knew beforehand, and he wanted to pave the way for others with mental health challenges. He also said he was inspired by NBA player Kyrie Irving. He's also a basketball fan.
You've got a Kyrie Irving face. Dude, you're Kyrie Irving!
He needs to stop being inspired by people.
Who refused to get vaccinated and sacrificed salary/backlash. The Brooklyn Nets didn't allow him to play for many games due to being unvaccinated to be a voice for the voiceless.
So of the people that he's inspired by, it's a fascist leader and an anti-vaxxer?
Basketball player.
Basketball player.
Bruh. I don't know about you. He wanted to be a voice for the voiceless, for other people who didn't want to be vaccinated. And while he disagreed with Kyrie's stance on vaccinations, we are both vaccinated. What? He's like, yeah, I disagree with like the whole anti-vax
Fundamentally,
movement.
I disagree.
And I disagree with the whole fascist thing. But
like,
I just want you to know that my two favorite people that I admire most are a fascist and an anti-vaxxer.
I just want to say, he stood his ground.
Also, Kyrie Irving is a flat earther too, apparently. That's funny.
But he plays with a round ball.
Yeah, and he's good at it. He
What's
must
he
be
doing?
good at brain things. You know, a brain's kind of
Apparently not.
round. He admired how he fought and forced the Brooklyn Nets to play him and cave as they struggled in the standings/injuries, and showed that corporations would eventually cave to employees. I don't know if you have the sway. I don't know if you have the sway you think you do.
These are the worst examples you could have possibly chosen.
Heidi says he sounds like a moron.
Yes, he sounds stupid.
Like Kiri, my ex-fiance said he wanted to be a voice for the voiceless who felt pressured to accept awards to move up at his job. He also said he wanted to make management cave to him, and that was the reason he was suing for the employees. It's not for himself. For the greater
for
good.
little guys.
He also wrote that I had broken up with him because I didn't support his mental health condition, just like his boss. But he never once mentioned anything related to mental health to me ever. Heck, he left out all the details about how he told his boss off, and my dad said he might be making it up to create a case when he knows he has none, or just wants to smear the company. Dad has also begun calling him the fake Captain America from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and he showed me some clips about the TV show when I asked what he meant.
This is accurate though, because I hated that guy. So the plot of the Winter Soldier is that there's this one guy who kind of steps up to become Captain America, while Sam is also trying to become Captain America, or is Captain America. And the fake guy, he like goes on this like government-backed rampage where he's like, I need to stop this rebellion that's going on. And then he like unalives someone, like who's part of the rebels or whatever. And then they just gloss over that. They're like, oh yeah, but he learned his lesson. He like tries to save a bus at the end.
I remember you telling me about that.
It made me so angry. Like he got the redemption arc, and the rebel leader who actually was good didn't. That's ridiculous. That is this guy.
Sophia Callan says sounds like a manic episode.
Maybe. If this is all like really sudden stuff.
Because it feels completely.
Yeah, it feels like the boss didn't see it coming, and OP didn't see it coming.
So going back to my ex-fiance, he also wrote he was glad to find out I didn't support mental health before we had kids, which really surprised me because I suggested couples counseling together. But he told me he didn't need it because he did nothing wrong. He also wrote that I refuse to spicy sleep with him after he opened up about his anxiety, when he was the one who opted to sleep away from me on the couch after he accused me of not supporting him like his boss. He also said he was talking to someone he knew who was a union shop steward for advice, and he said there'd be more in the future too. A lot of friends and relatives called me and my parents in the aftermath of his post, mostly those who saw the Facebook one I was tagged in, and my parents and I have been telling them our side. I also received DMs from people telling me off for not supporting his mental health, who I'm guessing are his friends, and some of them were really vulgar too. That only happened on my Instagram, but I blocked them because I don't know them. But it's been stressful after he tagged me in his post, and I'm honestly tired of repeating myself to everyone. However, I don't believe in engaging him/drama on social media, so I've continued to explain to everyone who's reaching out with the help of my parents. The other thing that sucks is how he called my job after I moved out and told them that I said a lot of ableist things about him and his mental health conditions, which wasn't true.
What is he doing?
I feel like OP is trying to run and he's just dragging her back in.
Yeah. What is he doing? He's pulling he's making this super public.
And while I don't think it'll amount to anything, I had to speak with HR about it, which surprised me. Dad doesn't think anything will come from it either, but he's been livid, and I am honestly too. Dad has also suggested a lawyer after how he called my job, and it's something we're investigating for maybe defamation. Don't know if that's a proper term, but maybe something in the ballpark of what he's doing. I just hope he stops, but he doesn't seem to be from his post and calling my job, and he said there'd be more to come to. I just hope he stops with me, at least, because I could care less if he wants to sue on his own. But we will see what Dad and I come up with a lawyer. And edit, I want to clarify something that many people seemed unsure about. Some people asked if he really is in the running for promotion or if he made that up.
Yeah, was he just lying this whole time?
I mean, he's lying about so much, so maybe.
I wouldn't put it past him.
I saw a physical review that he brought home detailing the training assignment and the scores of the duties he performed when it was done, and it was related to the position he was training for. The scores were really good, and he had no negative marks about the training. Returning award was unrelated to the training. His manager also took him out to dinner a few weeks before he returned the reward in regards to the promotion too. I also saw some confusing stuff about when my ex-fiance returned the award, and many asked if he returned it during the meeting to make a statement to his coworkers. He returned it after the meeting and after spending time at his desk where he said he was uneasy, and that led him to go to his manager's office where he told him to never give him an award again. Okay, so he didn't do that in public.
Okay. Well, it still doesn't change much.
In regards to how he showed his coworkers he wasn't a up, he said he told them in passing in the days after he returned it to the boss, which is the kind of public part of it.
Yes. And what did they say? Were they like, that's cool, I guess?
I don't know. I can't imagine that it would go over
Yeah, if someone
well.
told me that, they were like, oh, the boss tried to give me an award, and I was like, no, can't do that. I'm fighting for the little man.
I'd be like, cool, dude. Nice. The award had nothing to do with the promotion he was training for and wasn't the certificate needed for it. The award was given for how he helped others on Microsoft Teams through screen sharing when the boss asked him to assist others many times, and it wasn't related to his training assignment. And there is another update.
Man, oh man. Man, oh man. Belton says, OMG, he wants to be a martyr so bad. Yeah.
I mean, what do you do with this guy? He's
Yeah,
like
because
trying to ruin everything, and he's
Yeah,
calling.
he's already broken up, basically.
Well, I feel like we're in like restraining order territory.
I think so.
pretty
I think
soon.
you could sue him for like libel or whatever.
Yeah, and also just like,
That's
I mean,
libel, right?
like he's trying to get you fired.
Yeah. It's libel if it's written, right? Or is it slander?
I forget.
I think
I
it's
think libel
if
is
it's
written.
Yeah.
But we got another update.
Oh boy.
This will probably be my last update for a while. So I decided to make it an edit instead, since it seems to surpass the amount of updates I can have on the subreddit. So my dad was able to get in touch with a lawyer, and he agreed with the suggestion that many gave to send a cease and desist letter to my ex, we'll call him Nate, specifically for contacting my job along with posting/tagging me on his social media rants. We are considering other action too, but I wanted to touch on that because many suggested it. Things have also quieted down at my job since HR called me in to talk about how Nate called them, and we had another meeting too. Long story short, I gave them the full picture and they agreed that he was being vindictive. I also showed them the social media rant he made, and that cemented just how delusional he was. However, Dad suggested something else too. He suggested that I call my ex's company to see if I could speak to someone there, and I was able to speak with Nate's manager after explaining who I was to someone else. He ended up calling me back on the same day, and I told him that I just wanted to ask him about a few things. So I think we're going to get the truth.
Mm-hmm.
I told him, we'll call him John, about how Nate had become my ex after his Facebook rant, and he said he saw it too from an employee who showed him. I also told him about how he contacted my job too. When I asked about the promotion that Nate was training for, he confirmed it was real and that Nate was the only candidate, and he opened up about his decision to recommend him. He said he saw potential in Nate since he started working there in college as an intern, and he called him a hard worker. He was younger then, but he tried to support him. He gave him extra work that resulted in more hours when he wanted more in his early days, and he also helped him become full-time too. He said he was smart, honors in high school and in college, and it showed at work too. He also said Nate used to be humble and appreciative.
Until he got too humble.
Long
and
gone
circle
are
back
these
around
days.
to boastful.
Yeah, I also like that we're getting the whole
lore.
lore.
Mhm.
I mean, I feel like Nate's like, I built this company from nothing.
You
You know
were
how much I
nothing without me.
sacrificed?
You know how much I sacrificed?
Yeah. And now Opie's like, the boss is like, I don't know. I just wanted to help him out.
Yeah.
He seemed like a good kid. Apparently not.
Apparently not. Oh,
Yeah.
he's maybe, I don't know. He's got to be going through something.
I think so. I mean, he's brought up a lot about like mental health and stuff and anxiety. So there must be some sliver of truth in there.
You got to believe it.
You gotta believe.
He also said Nate used to be humble and appreciative, but that he let it go to his head somewhere along the way. His annual reviews were among the best, and he recommended him for the vacancy that was opening up because he thought he'd do well. He called him into the office and told him that he wanted to offer him training for the vacancy. Belton says the boss really shouldn't be talking about this, to be honest.
Yeah, he's just kind of telling her everything. He's like, yeah, this happened to you too. Let's chat. Let's have a little goss session.
Yeah, is that like, I feel like that would be an HR issue.
I think so.
Tia says from an HR standpoint, his returning the award would put me off because it would show that he's not a team player. Not a phrase I like, but it'd make me wary about him, and he'd be on my HR radar. Tia, tying into your HR radar, what do you think about this whole situation
Talking to the boss.
of talking to the boss and the boss divulging all of this? Does that get in your HR radar too? Let us know.
Does that set off your HR senses?
Spidey senses. Yeah, let us know. They wanted to offer him training for the vacancy, and it would have come with a nice raise too. They wanted to hire within, and he wanted to reward him for his hard work. And Tia said, yup. So,
Oh, it does set off the senses.
yeah, set off the senses.
So maybe there is something going on in this workplace. It's a little fishy.
There was no applying for the vacancy at all. He asked if he was interested, and he said that he was, and he began training shortly after. The training lasted a few months, but he said he aced it. When I told him that he showed me the review of his training, he said it was true and that he did well, but when it came to the award, he got too buddy-buddy with how he talked to him, and he told me some things that I didn't know. My ex told me that the award was for helping people through Microsoft Teams through screen sharing, but he received it for far more than that. He would stay late to help people with assignments that were not his responsibility, and he helped someone meet a deadline by staying late when it would have been late otherwise. In regard to the award, he received a certificate along with PTO during the meeting.
So what's that?
He got a vacation.
This is not even a participation trophy. This is an actual award. He got stuff.
He got something for it.
Ay, ay, ay.
And John said he shyfully accepted it. However, sometime after the meeting, on that same day, Nate went to his office and he was unlike himself. But when John asked if something was wrong, Nate went off the rails and looked stressed. I wonder why he's stressed. When I asked if Nate told him to never give him an award again, he confirmed that he did, along with the blindsiding comment. He also raised his voice and used some profanity.
So even it's gone through this kind of telephone thing of what actually happened. Like there was profanity and yelling, and then it goes to OP and it's like, oh, I told him that he blindsided me, and then it goes to Facebook and it's like, I didn't do anything. I was very polite.
Yeah.
Lies upon
Lies.
lies.
John tried to calm him down and he wouldn't have it. He stormed out of the office and left the award there. But then when his boss tried to find him a few minutes later, he found that he had left almost an hour earlier than he should have clocked out. He tried to call him to see if he was all right, but he didn't answer to 2 consecutive calls, and I had no clue about him leaving early. When he came in the next day, his boss went to his cubicle and asked if everything was all right. But when he asked if they could talk in his office, Nate refused and said there was nothing to talk about. But when John said he wanted to make sure he was fine, he cursed at him from his cubicle, and others heard it too. So while his training review came back sensational, John said that effectively ended his chances for promotion because he was done with him. I mean, obviously that would make you done with him because
I'd
you
be like,
cursed
yelled
out the
at
boss.
me. Yeah.
You can't do that. He tried to be reasonable and gave him a chance to explain himself instead of getting on him for leaving early, but he spat in his face.
Like metaphorically?
I think legitimately.
Physically? Literally?
Literally.
Read the next sentence.
I just realized I parked on the street without a thing.
Do you want to go check?
I'm going to go check. 1 sec.
Pause. Tia says, anytime an employee speaks to anyone outside of the company, whether it's a partner or a parent, it can be a violation of company policy as well, but I understand the desire to help. Eliana Bain says, I know more bad than good ones. I had a therapist that asked me if I had a kid every session and hit on me when he would come into work. Ooh. Duchess Cassandra says, does this man have a brain tumor or something? Mental break? The sudden change is concerning. I agree. And I don't understand. Again, like, we've already heard from OP and the boss that this behavior was totally out of the blue. Like, OP was like, I did not recognize it. Well, no, I was going to say maybe there was a chance that there was something happening with the fiance for her to be willing to go to like couples counseling. So maybe this was an ongoing problem. But I think this behavior alone would merit couples counseling. Irish Gig says, spitting on someone is disgusting. I think this man is headed for a breakdown. Yeah, or well underway. Given the people that he's trying to emulate, it's not looking too good for this man. I think his name is Nate. I think his name is Nate. I think Sam's returned. Did you get a ticket? Oh, you're not Sam? Awesome. It's Dakota. We're taking a pause in the story because Sam forgot he parked without a thing.
Yep, he's in for a world of hurt.
A world of
from
hurt.
the parking
I've done
bureau.
it many a time.
That's right. I actually shouldn't be up here right now. Riley's probably gonna kill me if he finds out I sat down here. So, bye everybody.
He's leaving again. And Sam has returned. Back into it.
So I didn't tell HR about how he returned the award the day before because he wanted to give him a chance and felt that he might have triggered some trauma. But when he cursed at him the following day, that was it.
Yeah.
He told his manager/HR everything that happened and said he was wrong about him and wasn't mature enough. And he said it hurt because he put himself out on a limb to recommend him when the other managers wanted to hire someone older. Throughout our conversation, he kept saying that he was a good kid and that he saw himself in him. But the more he thought about it, he said he might have had a silver spoon growing up because he never learned how to be personable during stress, which was essential for management.
You can't handle the truth.
That's true.
To his last point, my dad agreed with his assumption of Nate. Honor society in high school/college, along with Dean's List too.
Dang.
His parents didn't require him to work when he worked in retail. He wanted to work because his friends were going to work there. As long as his grades were good, his parents paid for gas, bought him a car, never requested for him to work, and paid for college too. I paid for my own college and took semesters off because I couldn't always afford it with fluctuating hours. But when people asked how I didn't see this side of him, he was always nice when things were going well, and his bosses said so too. Giving him the award triggered something, and he wasn't mature enough to have a conversation about it. Nate would often surprise me with flowers/other gifts, and we'd watch movies/have fun. But when he became stressed with the award, his immaturity showed when he accused me of taking his manager's side and began to treat me differently. By the way, don't treat us differently by joining our live every weekday at 3 p.m. BST right here on YouTube and Facebook.
Just tap our profile.
There's another relevant update, but I don't know. How do we feel about this guy?
I mean, okay, one, very strange. I'll back to like Tia and I think Belton's point. Very strange that the boss is just divulging this whole whole
That
story.
feels a little whack.
It feels a little bit of a reach. I don't know. But also going into what he said, it does feel like maybe their life was just going really well. Like everything was really looking up for him. And then this one thing that just didn't quite go his way. He's like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
And he like went off.
Yeah. No, I think a measure of a person's character is not how things are when things are good, but when things are bad.
It's true.
This is true.
This is the way.
But my dad said that everything at work had gone right for him leading up to the award, but that moment probably triggered something and showed he wasn't reliable when crap hit the fan because it was everyone else's fault. He also didn't blame me for not seeing it sooner because he was probably spoiled and protected by his parents at every turn. He also said that John didn't see it either after working with Nate for almost 5 years until getting triggered. I still blame myself for not seeing it sooner, but this was the first time I've seen him really bothered by something that wasn't even bad. The award was a good thing, but it is what it is. He made another post talking about a live stream he was going to do along with his shop steward, but I won't address it in this update because it's getting too long. We're working on the cease and desist letter, and this is the first step right now. I appreciate everyone who reached out. It's been a lot having to explain. Friends and family who saw me tagged in his original rant, but taking things one day at a time because what else can you do? And that's where that story ends.
Man, oh man.
Man really imploded his whole life.
Yeah, and now he's kind of, he probably doesn't have any money or a job, so he's becoming a streamer just to talk about his
And
drama that
he's
he
choosing
created.
the most boring stream
Yeah.
topic to start off.
Yeah, everyone's gonna be like, okay, that's it?
Yeah.
She's like, yes.
I'm doing it for the little man.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, pretty whack.
Chains.
Break your chains. But I feel like we might need to read one more short story to be on time. All right. My ex cheated on me with his new girlfriend. Now I'm flirting with him to make her jealous. Almost a year ago, I left my husband because he was cheating on me with his lover, who was a random woman I never met before. She never met me before either, but for some reason, she was always really jealous and insecure about me, even when she was the lover and I was the fool.
The lover and the fool. Classic pair.
By the way, this comes from Throwaway on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So I don't understand why she would feel that way. And honestly, I would never be with a married man if I'm just going to compare myself to another woman all the time because it sounds really tiring, okay? Well, when I discovered the messages between them, she was the typical one who always needed to talk about me or asked him if he was going to leave me already, etc. I was never too, and apparently the husband was, and they had a BDSM relationship. She loved to remind him that I was too boring for him, that I had taken him for granted, and that he is an excellent man, and I didn't know what I had, etc.
I feel like if she has to, really stress this to the original like wife or partner.
Yeah, why is she rubbing it in the face?
Yeah, it feels like
for the
she's
original
really
partner?
insecure.
Yeah, oh yeah, no. I mean, you don't.
She's like, you didn't know what you had, and I'm gonna take care of him now.
So I didn't take him for granted, by the way. I literally just don't like to be beaten, and I need to raise kids. But hey, I respect everyone. Oh
my God.
yikes.
Yikes.
Jeez. But he always told her that he was going to divorce me, but never did, and recently told me that he didn't think of divorcing me ever, but I was the one who divorced first. Good for you.
Yeah.
So that gave me a lot of satisfaction knowing that I won in that moment. I was bored, and honestly, to this day, she makes her jealousy for me too obvious. At the beginning, I ignored them during things like our kids' school meetings until she started doing things like pushing me by the shoulder, stepping on me, and other typical things that silly girls with the Regina George complex do. Simply people who are mentally still in high school.
Vintage. So adorable.
Mentally still is
Yes.
funny.
Well, yeah, she's trying to like prove that she won him, but if she actually won him, then she wouldn't need to rub it in your face so much.
I tried to be the civil and the mature one, even though I was hurt at the start. I tried to be civil and mature, even if I read all those messages calling me boring, tasteless like a white rice. I even tried to get along with her. In the past, I was never the I'm not going to get angry type, but this time I decided to do it because everyone told me that I should just let them be. But again, I realized that no, I never gain anything good for being the good person in the story. I don't want to let them be happy, and karma doesn't exist. It never works to wait. I do think it leads to a more like dramaless life if you don't
interact.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that, if someone keeps harassing you and stuff, the only thing is that they do have kids, so it seems like they're going to be somewhat intertwined.
Yeah.
But if you can
But you
block
don't need
her,
you don't need to like be angry.
because she's looking for a reaction is
Yeah.
the thing. That's why she's harassing you, because she wants to prove that like, oh, you're the bad guy, and she wants to play the victim.
I've been a good person my entire marriage, and what did I gain? To be fooled for being a boring woman. So I started flirting with my ex because I just enjoy seeing her jealous and him frustrated every time I turn him down. I was also fed up with her behavior, pushing me or making inappropriate comments in front of my children. I had enough, and I know that I will have to continue to tolerate this as long as she continues with him. I don't care if it's a bad thing to do. I like it, and I find it funny. Maybe it's a sadistic instinct I have, but I can't help it. It's fun. I know they have started fighting more often since I started flirting with him. She's even started to come with him to take our children because she's afraid of leaving us alone. It's something he told me after I asked. She's forbidden him to name me. I'm not going to sleep with him.
cannot speak her name in my presence.
Yes,
She who shall not be named.
I am not going to sleep with him ever, and it gives me satisfaction to hear his frustrated audios when I tell him I am not going to sleep with a taken man, and he tells me that if I ask him, he will leave her, but I just tell him that I need time. He always says that she was a mistake and even stopped posting pictures with her and deleted the others he had before with her. I know they fight a lot now, and he insists that we should get back together, but I just tell him to stay with her because she's the one for him, and he only says that she doesn't understand him.
Wait, I feel like I logged out for a second. She was like, yeah, I'm going to fight back. And then just started
full-on flirting with him.
What? This is not, I don't know if I recommend this.
She's trying to get her revenge.
I
She's
guess
getting
you're
that petty
doing
revenge.
it.
I wouldn't recommend this either, but it is funny.
It is funny.
It is funny.
It is a good story.
I've asked him to wait for me until I feel ready, and he talks to me every day in a more romantic way like he did when he first met, but it's obviously not the same anymore. I just find him stupid. I don't even spend much energy on this. It's just a few messages a day. I even realize that he's more attracted to me when I'm really dry with him, and for some reason he becomes more begging towards me when I don't answer. But it was your husband who cheated on you, not her. I hate my ex, but even so, I think I have every right to not like the woman who criticized my physique without knowing me and likes to be nasty to me, right? Maybe I'm a bad feminist, but I don't support mean women. And I don't support cheaters either. So I'm not going to keep doing this because I like to know he thinks I'm going to welcome him with open arms when I'm not going to do that at all. I want their relationship to fail, and I don't feel bad about wanting that. In the meantime, I enjoy my singleness with my friends. I don't plan to go back to him ever. I just want to F up the relationship of both of them like they effed up my marriage. By the way, if you don't want to get effed up, you should join our live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on Facebook and YouTube. Just tap our profile.
Tap it.
Please save yourselves empty advices like you should be the bigger person. Revenge is bad. Let it go. Let the past be the past because I don't care. I know what I'm doing. Also, I don't understand why I should take the advice of total internet strangers, to be honest. None of this keeps me up at night. I think people should learn to enjoy a little bit of the evil we all have inside and come down from that moral pedestal where they find themselves. I was on the moral pedestal for years thinking I needed to be a good person, and I didn't gain anything in return by doing that. I can't think of putting so much energy into that. That's another quote. I'm sorry, but how much energy does a person spend writing 3 texts a day? I find it funny that people find it tiring moving their fingers on a screen. And that's where it ends.
I mean, do what you want, OP. If this is giving you joy, this
If it
is sparking
sparks
joy
joy
for you, sure. I'm going to give advice to someone else who maybe is in the same situation, who's not you, of course. I think that doing something like this kind of suggests that you are not over what happened and you are continuing to put yourself in a situation where you are still involved in this relationship in some way or some manner. So I don't recommend it.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's necessary. I mean, it's not the healthiest thing to do.
Yeah.
But you're having fun, so.
Yeah, I don't know about this. I don't know about this, but I'm glad maybe you're finding a way to cope with this.
Yeah.
And that's where that story ends.
And this episode.
So, if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you
And see you tomorrow.